How awful.
Call me when you want. Call me when you need. Call me in the morning. I'll be on the way. Call me when
Where are you going?
Call me when to Chicago.
Oh, yeah, you are going to Chicago. Chicago.
Chicago is my kind of town. Chicago is.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Tanya Lee.
I'm me.
We remembered to introduce ourselves this time.
Yeah, we are coming to you, not live, from our spooky apartment. I did what Tanya wanted me to do the last time we recorded. I decorated.
She's super decorated. It looks amazing. I'll post a video.
Yes.
Of our apartment on Instagram.
Believe it or not, I still feel like more lighting is needed.
I mean,
I'm saying that, and you're not saying. There's tons of candles going on. There's like a swirly majigger on the ceiling.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe. I have a second swirly majigger, but that one makes like a.
Yeah, we don't want that while we podcast.
No, and I could even hear it over the TV, so it's just too loud.
Also, hey, welcome to October.
Welcome to October.
We made it.
We did.
We have a very fun episode laid out for you. At least my half, and B said hers is really fun too. So
yeah, I mean, fun might not be the category, but it's very interesting. Spicy.
Spicy.
It's spicy.
Mine is just very interesting.
How has your week been, friend?
I know we haven't seen much of each other.
No. But that's ending in a week.
Yeah. One of my coworkers had to quarantine, so I had to do a lot of.
She had to do double
dutying, which was already hard on an already hard show. But we're almost done. So I see the home stretch, and I finished organizing. I mean, it's really boring, but I finished organizing all of our files today.
Fun.
So I'm like ahead.
File organizing.
Yeah. So I'm super pumped about that.
Super pumped.
I just, I'm ready to be over. My union might be going on strike.
Interesting.
So if you are unfamiliar with IATSE, you should follow IA_stories on Instagram just to learn about
what she goes through.
Yeah, movie magic isn't all magic. I love my job, but I don't love what is required of me to do my job.
No.
So, and the
conditions to which you have to exist in to do your job is kind of inhumane.
Correct. And that is how most people feel on set. Everybody loves working in this industry and they love their job, but they don't love the conditions that are expected of them.
And it ruins the love.
Yeah. So basically the reason why we might go on strike, just for educational purposes, so everybody knows, the reason, the things that we are asking for that we were trying to negotiate that are not being negotiated are rest periods, because most people don't have rest periods.
And by rest periods, you mean breaks and at least 12 hours between shifts.
I mean 10 hours between shifts.
10 hours?
Legally?
I thought legally it was 12.
Well, yes, but they can basically, some unions, like, because there's different branches of the unions, some of them you can work 10-hour turnarounds and some, but it's like not, it's called a forced call and it's not expensive enough for anybody to care.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but on your PA days, so your production assistant days, there were a couple times where your turnaround was like 6 hours.
That is correct.
Yeah.
When I was working on set, there was one day where my turnaround was 5 hours.
That's what I thought.
From the moment I left work to the moment that I had to be back at work.
She had 5 hours to get home.
Sleep.
Then
wake up and drive back.
Get ready. Go back.
And set was downtown, so it was like 45 minutes away.
Yeah, so you got a big whopping like hour and a half, 2 hours.
2 hours, 3 hours.
You got a nap.
Yeah. And then I worked an 18-hour day the next day.
Yeah. I remember because I was really, 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 really scared of you driving yourself home.
Yeah. And that is like, for me, that was like a one-time thing because I work in the office now and I'm not on set anymore. But for people on set, that is a daily challenge.
Maybe that's why I was picking you up from Paramount.
It could have been.
No, I actually think it was that time you cracked your windshield.
Oh, that's right.
I'm pretty sure it was your windshield.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, long story short, my union might strike and, they want rest periods. They want more money. And there was this really nasty Deadline article that came out about how they're like, oh, Hollywood, they're such elitists. They make $40 an hour. And I'm like,
where?
I don't make $40 an hour, but
if she made $40 an hour, I would be a kept roommate.
I literally complain about the fact that I don't make $40 an hour because there are some people that do make that. But still, it shouldn't matter if you make $40, if you make $50, whatever. You should not have to work those inhumane hours.
No.
Just to make television.
Never.
The studios can afford it. Clearly. COVID budgets came out of nowhere.
Right.
And they're like hefty budgets.
Right.
So clearly you have the money for it somewhere if you could afford that. And so anyway, we might go on strike.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing.
She might be fun employed for a while.
Yeah. So I'm dealing with that anxiety, but also I really want it to happen. So it's like, it's for good reason. Not that I want to strike. I want negotiations to go well.
Yeah.
And if we have to strike to make negotiations go well, I'm supportive of that.
Definitely.
Anyway, look into it. IATSE, IA_stories to know the stories behind the movies and television shows you love so much.
Yar.
Yeah.
Yar. So now, okay, for at least the month of October, we will be coming to you every week.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be the holidays. So it'll probably still be at every 2 weeks scheduled to give ourselves time to be with our family.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
We'll probably take the end of December, early January off for holidays. Yeah. Everybody does. And then we'll see.
Bear with us.
Well, yeah. We're figuring out what format works best for us and works best for you. The only person complaining about the every 2 weeks thing is my mother.
She misses us.
Yeah, she says she really hates it not having us on Mondays to listen to while she works.
Oh,
it's her favorite thing.
Oh,
yay moms!
Yay moms! Supportive moms.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Our topics this week is you have lore and I have exorcisms.
And I particularly chose a subject that I felt was going to fit October and spooky.
Yeah, same. So did I.
Good. What was yours again? Sorry.
Exorcisms.
Right.
And I picked one that I think is the first one out of all the exorcism stories that can't be debunked with mental health.
Oh, good God.
It's the first one I've read where I'm like, this is legit.
Am I going to be scared?
Messed up. Yeah.
Should I hold Izzy?
Pause for chugging wine.
Are you going to chug that?
You should too.
Well, okay.
Before we get into it. YOLO, friend. It's Monday. Chugging wine is not easy. But it's not that much. It's
actually Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what day it is.
But it's Monday for you guys. Because that's when we release episodes.
That's what I meant.
Guys, aren't Mondays awful? I don't chug wine. I'm sorry. I'm still...
Do it!
I'm French. We don't do this.
That's why we come into you on Mondays. Because it's awful.
We got to make it bearable
it's
somehow.
Awful. Okay. Down the hatch. You can do it. You're Canadian. That was a sip.
Why don't you just work on pouring yourself a glass, and then by the time you're done
She's
pouring...
like, can you stop paying attention to me?
Pouring yourself a glass, I will, surprise, be done. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
You got this, pal. There you go. It hurts. It's not fun. Yay!
Yowza.
Now pause for wine. This is, 91 points. I don't know what that means. JamesSuckling.com. That's dirty.
That's an A-.
91 points? Okay. We're drinking a Côte d'Aron.
I love how when I say something that you think is ridiculous, you just say, okay. Can I just point that out?
I've learned.
You know what? Most people around me do that, actually.
Just say okay?
Yeah, I was telling B that one of my friends at work just tells me that she can't with me most of the day.
I can't with you most of my life, but
you can.
I like to live my life unable to even.
I got a text from one of my friends from work who asked me if my roommate, he goes, she either has a secret crush on you or is God sent. And I was like, maybe God sent, but also maybe both.
So it's a little, we've been over this. If you had boy parts, this would be a different relationship. Half of our family thinks that already is.
Yeah, if only.
That's fine.
Oh well.
Oh well. Oh well.
We get to be best friends forever.
Isn't that the best?
You know what? Cheers to that.
Soulmates.
Cheers to being best friends. We didn't want to cheers very loud. Sorry.
No.
That was a BB cheers.
It was a BB cheers.
Guys,
not all soulmates are significant others. Even though you're kind of my significant other.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say something.
Why does this smell like a roast dinner?
When I said, guys, wait, I was going to say something, but I'm going to save it for my wonderful.
Oh, okay. Is it me? Am I the wonderful?
You are wonderful. You're always my wonderful.
Oh.
You, Izzy, and Moosh. If I were to say my wonderful, it would be like
your
every
life
time.
Wonderful?
Which Izzy and Moosh are both simultaneously bathing themselves in front of us. Just so you know.
Wow.
Guys, time
Moosh
and a place.
Moosh is doing it on a pedestal. He's the typical male, thinks very highly of himself.
Moosh, why are you bathing yourself?
The guy tangled in our light is creepy. I
Yeah, I don't like him. I'm not gonna like this when I turn the lights off when I go to the bathroom and I have to walk literally.
You don't have to see it. You don't see the lights.
The 2 steps from my bathroom to my bedroom.
You don't see any of the creepy guys.
What do you mean I don't see any of the what creepy
guys? You
guys?
don't see that from that guy.
Well, if I turn my head, I will.
No, you won't.
But I just won't turn my head.
Just don't turn your head. Yeah, I there's I have a decomposing body attached to a spider web that I like.
Not a real one. Not a real one.
Oh, no, not real.
Right? I think I would smell it.
Yeah.
Unless you're what's his Nugget's roommate.
What?
Who couldn't smell the decomposing body in his
there's
house.
A lot of roommates that don't smell decomposing bodies. But yeah, he is tangled up in our dining room lights.
Yes, Travis Alexander's roommate. Sorry. I forgot already. That was like 2 episodes ago.
Oh,
I already blacked it out.
Arias.
Yeah, Jody Arias' boyfriend.
Okay. Should we jump in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we dive in to exorcisms?
Here I go. Ready? Watch me dive. Watch me dive.
Okay.
Okay. I put air quotes around that. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to tell you the story of the exorcism of Roland Doe, a.k.a. Robbie Mannheim. He has 2 different pseudonyms. Neither are his real name.
Interesting. Okay, I know
a little
of this, but I don't know the story. I just know the name.
Yeah.
I think this is on my list.
Yeah. There's no way it isn't because you'll see why.
Holy balls. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy balls.
So Roland was born into a German Lutheran family. During the 1940s, the family lived in Cottage City, Maryland. Neighbors and friends such as Dr. Alvin Cagey, who lived in this area and went to the same school as this boy, described him as quiet, unpopular, not very athletic, but he was very studious. Just call him a nerd already. He was also slightly withdrawn. To the outside world, his family was very pleased to be a part of the working class. All in all, Dr. Cagey claims that the family was a plain old normal family when all was said and done, though nothing to speak of in regards to nuances or peculiarities.
Okay. So they're
normal.
They're boring.
Yeah. Roland was an only child and depended upon adults in his household for playmates, primarily his Aunt Harriet.
Can relate.
Right. His aunt, who was a spiritualist, introduced Roland to the Ouija board when he expressed interest in it.
No, guys, don't do it.
Don't do it. After a few weeks of constantly playing with the board, Aunt Harriet passed away due to natural causes. So let it be noted that playing with the Ouija board should always be with caution.
Uh-huh.
In fact, no one should play with it at all. It should be approached with respect and knowledge. Otherwise, you could very well be opening a portal to invite in all manner of things.
Yeah, please do not.
Yeah, don't do it. It's not a toy, and it shouldn't be sold as a toy.
Yeah.
Shame on Hasbro.
I come from a hockey family. We're very superstitious.
Very.
Don't mess with that stuff.
No. So shortly afterwards, this boy and even his family started to notice strange occurrences. Unusual sounds, such as unexplained thumping, tapping, and banging coming from an otherwise empty upstairs, or objects moving on their own, such as the chandelier swinging or portraits of Jesus Christ banging against the wall as if moved by some invisible force.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
They're just like, Jesus, go here?
They just have pictures of Jesus Christ.
They're just redecorating?
Yeah, I guess. They're like, I don't know. I don't like this here. I think it would look nice by the window. Jesus would like a view.
Oh, poor Jesus.
Why does it smell like roast dinner? I'm so weirded out by this. It smells interesting to me. I don't have COVID. Anyway. Additional sounds heard included a frantic scratching and or knocking from under the floorboards.
It kind of does smell like roast dinner.
Thank you! It's like buttery and baked potato-y and like roasty, and I don't understand its red wine. It tastes delightful.
Tastes fine, yeah.
But it smells bizarre, like Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, off we go.
Yep.
Okay, so banging on the floors?
No, frantic scratching and or knocking from underneath the floors.
Okay. Fun,
right? But in their denial, the family blamed this on rodents and attempted to call in pest control, who in turn discovered absolutely nothing. As time went on, the family began to believe that maybe these strange events were happening because the aunt was attempting to communicate with them from the afterlife. As nights went by, the intensity of these noises only grew and grew, and the house echoed with the noises of what could be described as a large group of people marching.
What? Why large?
Large group of people,
yeah,
not
why?
Large people.
No, I know.
Just a lot of people.
But why?
I don't know. It's all the demons coming to Roland.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And even after that, events took a shocking and powerful turn. The mother walked in once to find the entire bed with her son in it, shaking and rattling violently.
Oh, buddy.
This changed the entire game. Suddenly, it was not a fun or cute little communication from the afterlife, and the family began to have doubts that this was from the aunt at all. This was not the only thing that was recorded. Things were written in a diary. It wasn't the only thing that was recorded. Additional peaches. I like my peaches out in Georgia. Oh yeah, shit. Okay. Additional pieces of furniture around the house began to move of their own free will as well, such as dressers, night tables, coffee tables, etc. This is the Bobby Burke of demons. It is just absolutely redecorating. Doesn't like where the Jesus picture is. It doesn't like where the furniture is. No. Everything's gonna move. Nothing's feng shui. Marie Kondo of demons.
Marie and Bobby combined.
Yes. Dr. KG had another story. While Dr. KG's father in 1949 was in this boy's house, he vividly recalls an instance where the boy was sitting in a chair and then quickly, without any warning whatsoever, he was thrown completely out of the chair and landed multiple feet away. This was the first time that someone outside the family had witnessed an event such as this and began to suspect that something abnormal was going on here.
I am no longer doing a relaxed face.
She is doing a concerned fear face.
My eyebrows are furrowed.
I wish I could drink this without breathing.
Why do you not want to breathe?
Because it smells like Thanksgiving. Okay.
I want you to keep breathing.
It was also said that once night fell, the boy's behavior became dramatically, intensely, and increasingly disturbing. Marks, bruises, scratches, and welts began appearing on the boy's body without any indication that something had been done to physically react the way his body was. As most people will do, the family of the boy began to exhaust their options. They obviously went to doctors and then to the county psychiatric evaluation professionals as well. More or less, they were trying to rule out certain aspects of the vast array of things that could potentially be wrong with Roland. Surprisingly enough, shrinks found nothing, which is, like I said, at first.
Weird.
So they contacted the Catholic Church as a last resort. There they were put into contact with a Father Albert Hughes. Father Hughes died in 1980, but close friend of his and a confidant as well, Father Bober. Bobber, I don't know which one. I'm going to say Bober. Has spoken about the events which took place. Father Hughes first met the afflicted boy in February of 1949, and Father Bober explains that Hughes mentioned him that upon the moment of meeting the boy, he noticed a very, quote, dark stare, almost as if there was nothing behind the eyes, end quote.
Poor guy.
He also noticed that immediately the boy seemed to be staring hard at the books Father Hughes had placed across the table, one of which being the Bible. This is a classic symptom of possession, as the person afflicted with this seems to have a deep-seated aversion or hatred to all things sacred.
Right.
Including the books of scripture, crucifixes, clergy members, idols, icons, medals, and so on.
Was there a man?
There was a man.
Did you hear him?
I did.
Where is this man?
Outside or in the hall.
Okay.
During this event in which the boy stared at the books, Father Hughes's chair, with him still inside it, quite literally lifted up and levitated.
Oh, good God.
Forcing him backwards against a wall. It was this exact instance that Hughes knew he was dealing with something preternatural and diabolical, and from that on, he addressed the situation as properly as he could. Immediately, I hate this. Okay.
I hate this.
This part. Oh. Immediately, Father Hughes asked the boy in Latin. So they often would speak to them in a language that the person possessed doesn't know to see if they could understand it and respond in it.
Sure.
Because that would be kind of the cue that they were possessed. So he asked the boy in Latin, "What is your name?" The boy's response clearly stated in Latin, "I am legions."
No.
The reason "I am legions" is such an intimidating response is because it immediately indicates that there are multiple demonic entities within the same vessel, which means that the priest will have to fight so much harder to absolve the afflicted person. It's not one, it's legions. I hate it.
I hate legions.
Yes. So Father Hughes at this stage was not familiar with the rite of exorcism. He's a new priest.
Yeah.
And Ronald Robbie, whatever you want to call him, would be his first.
Wait, sorry, you probably already told me this and I forgot.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. The boy was admitted to a hospital in Washington, D.C., run by Jesuit brothers, so monks, who oversaw the events. The boy was already in a violent and volatile state by this point, shaking and rocking, spitting, screaming, and having aggressive outbursts. At some point, the nurses at the hospital made the choice to physically restrain him to try to get him under some type of control. By now, Father Hughes had been reciting the exorcism prayers for 3 consecutive nights to no results. In fact, the boy became increasingly violent. He would foam at the mouth, shout, insult the priest, and attempt to break his constraints. Eventually, Roland succeeded in getting his hands free. And with that free hand, he reached under the bed, physically broke one of the hinges, like one of the springs under the mattress, and sliced Father Hughes with the spring in a gash that went from the inside of Hughes' wrist all the way up to the nook of his elbow.
Oh my God.
To an untrained eye, it looked as if Father Hughes had attempted suicide.
Right.
But there were witnesses who could document that this was an account of attack. Like he did it himself with this spring. So Hughes was forced to take time away from the event to heal. He felt as if he had failed the boy, and the boy eventually returned home.
No.
Yeah. The family remained in a constant state of fear for their son. He continued to exhibit unexplained cuts, bruises, scratches, and welts. This had become common, but one night the boy's mother thought she saw something astounding. The word St. Louis appeared, or St. Louis, appeared to be literally branded into the boy's chest.
What?
Yeah. After that night, the family moved in with relatives who lived within the city. This I didn't document it, but this isn't the only time words appeared branded in his skin, like she saw like the word hell and things like that. But this seemed to be the first time it was like a message. So after that night, the family moved in with relatives who lived within St. Louis. They gave the excuse that they had moved to St. Louis to obtain medical treatment for their son. This would be the exact opposite of good. Because at this point, the move was the worst thing that they did.
Clearly, they were like, come to St. Louis, and they were like, okay.
Okay, demon.
Sure.
With doctors coming up with 0, the family yet again turned to the church, this time meeting of Father William Bodern, a senior priest from St. Louis Diocese. He was a very street-smart priest who had spent time in the U.S. Army and was known for being observant and not easily swayed.
Izzy, I want to hold you.
Upon meeting with the boy and the family, Father Bodern also decided that he believed that the boy was possessed, but decided to approach the situation with caution because he already knew of the outcome of the previous exorcism in which Father Hughes had become seriously injured. He believed that he was going to be the person who would finish the fight that Father Hughes had started. Shockingly, every single detail of the exorcisms performed over the next 6 weeks were kept in a detailed diary by the priests.
I don't like that.
After the events had concluded, an author named Thomas B. Allen published these diaries in their entirety in a book called Possessed, The True Story of an Exorcism by Thomas B. Allen.
Okay.
So at this point, Father Bodern was having serious doubts about his own ability as well. He was unsure if he could complete the ritual successfully, but in the end, all he wanted to do was help a child fight off the demons who were taking up residence in his body, quite literally ruining every aspect of life from the inside out. During these exorcisms, Father Bodern chose to enlist the help of several priests and a young seminarian whose only function would be to help everyone hold Roland down once things intensified during the ritual.
Okay.
Almost from the start, this child began to forcefully spit at the priests, threatening them with violence, commanding them to leave, and making vulgar sexual propositions towards the clergy personnel. Not to be scared off, Father Bodern and his priests recited the exorcism prayer every night straight for a full 3 weeks. Pinning the boy down frequently due to his violent outbursts was commonplace. One of the priests recorded in the diary that the blows this boy was physically delivering were far beyond the strength of an ordinary boy of his age. He was seriously injuring large, grown men, and he was a malnourished, at this point, 14-year-old injured boy.
Wow.
As an act of desperation, at times, the priest even held a pillow over the boy's face to stop him from swearing. This did not smother him. He didn't die from them literally holding a pillow over his face.
Weird.
Yeah. The marks...
Also, stop trying to kill him.
They were trying to get him to stop swearing.
It's just a weird flex.
Catholics. The marks continued to appear, sometimes forming words, sometimes not. There were more frequently appearing periods of lucidity when the boy would appear calm and cool, but still calculating. While they were becoming more frequent, they would never last. At this point, the priests all agreed that in order to give the family some peace, they would move the boy again, this time to a hospital run by an ancient order of Catholic monks. This was more of an exile. The boy was confined to a room and where no one could hear him during these outbursts and where everyone could work as intensely as they needed to without raising the concerns of outsiders. It was, in fact, the same type of room that a mental patient at the time would be assigned to. The windows did not open, and you could not open the door from the inside. Everything in there was regarded as safe or otherwise unable to assist the afflicted in harming themselves or others. So he was basically like imprisoned away from the world so they could do whatever they needed to him without raising suspicion.
I don't like that.
No, it doesn't elaborate, which worries me as well. By this point, people were beginning to become concerned with the health of Father Bodern. It must be noted that priests are also responsible for their daily assignments while they take part in special assignments. So while Bodern was conducting these exorcisms, oftentimes into the early morning, he was spending most of the time at his day job where he ran a parish. He had been losing massive amounts of sleep. He was feeling exhausted both physically and mentally, and at one point he even broke out in boils, which are like painful hives.
Yeah, I know. Boils are. Woof.
This was not turning out how he had hoped, but he still kept at it and continued to put up a good fight with everything he had in him. So there was one night in particular that brings some things into question. A priest had his nose broken by the boy during one of his outbursts. This was a period when the priests were going through a growing sense of doubt and despair, feeling as if they were not able to make a dent in the boy's salvation. They decided that the best course of action would be to baptize the boy in an effort to strengthen his resistance through the sacraments.
Sure.
The belief was that once they anointed this boy as a converted Catholic, he would be subject more so to the spiritual power of the Catholic Church and its priests, thus assisting the priests with progress towards liberation. When they attempted to force the boy to take communion by accepting the communion wafer, it was said that this was one of the fiercest bouts of resistance that the boy had ever put up, and he fought tooth and nail against this, as you would expect.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Finally, the boy did wind up accepting the communion wafer, but the results were not as expected. This only increased the resolve of the demons within. Duh. But then, days later, in an event that shocked all of those who were present, in the middle of one of the worst displays of violence and hatred the priest had ever seen, Roland, for the first time in many days, spoke in a clear voice and declared, "Satan, Satan, I am Saint Michael, and I command you, Satan, and the other evil spirits to leave the body now."
What?
Yeah. Now, to go into further detail about why this is significant, according to the Catholic belief, Saint Michael is the chief archangel in heaven. He is the angel whom God gave power over Satan, and he is also the angel who threw Lucifer from heaven and exiled him. He is literally one major badass, but for the side of good, basically.
Yeah, interesting. He was speaking through the kid.
Yeah, almost as if Saint Michael had possessed him to expel the demons.
Whoa.
This kid was not Catholic. He didn't grow up in Catholic school. He didn't know anything about Saint Michael.
Yeah, right.
Priests often mention that they pray for intervention from Saint Michael himself because it is quick, decisive, and absolute. Demonic entities do not stand a chance against this archangel. This is a prayer that you are supposed to recite for protection over any type of evil you may feel building or brewing. So for believers out there, if you have ever experienced a malevolent presence such as a poltergeist or just a spirit entity which you feel intends you harm, if this is something that you believe in, this is the prayer that you're supposed to say as it alerts the archangel to your situation. So the prayer is, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, I'm not Catholic, but I'm just saying what it is in case it helps somebody else. Saint Michael, the archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the divine power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam throughout the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. So
I was waiting for all candles to like burn intensely.
I know, wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah.
After what was believed to be the intervention of Michael, Roland attended Mass finally, and for the first time he seemed at ease. So he was able to calm enough to go to church.
Okay.
Only a few days after, the family returned home to Cottage City and quietly slipped back into the way things used to be, entering their old routines, taking part in their old life, and moving on. The parents were a bit more reserved now than they had been before, and things began to get back on track for the family. The boy went back to school and never exhibited any strange behavior such as what was previously seen again. He eventually went on to work for NASA, and even now, he's still alive. The boy chose and requested the priests and authors to keep his identity a secret.
Oh, I mean, I kind of get it.
As of the current time, he claims that he does not have any recollection of these events, and this is also common amongst possession victims. This usually means that whatever had control of them was stronger than the average diabolical entity, as only the stronger demons seem to rob the afflicted of the memories which occurred while the vessel was occupied by the diabolical entity. He has no mental health issues either in current day. So this is the story of the true ordeal behind The Exorcist. The movie was responsible for spawning an intense debate of religion versus science. It was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and was a blockbuster hit. While many of the scenes in the movie The Exorcist were exaggerated, within the small world of actual exorcists, they all claim that the movie is strikingly accurate.
Oh, God.
Exaggerations aside, the content and many actions of Reagan in the movie are claimed to be rather identical to some things that real-life exorcists have seen, minus the buckets of shooting pea soup and full 360-degree head turning.
Right. Yeah. Well, that,
Anyway, my sources were the entire case history of Robbie Mannheim, the real-life story that inspired the Exorcist movie, by Diabolical Confusions WordPress. It's like a blog. The real story behind The Exorcist by Patrick Kiger for Boundary Stones. The Exorcism That Haunts SLU 70 Years Later by Caroline Lipsky for the University News. So that I've kept finding this tied to St. Louis University. So I think where his exorcism took place is now university grounds.
Oh, interesting.
And it's said to be haunted. It's a whole other story.
Of course, yeah.
So The Unnerving Tale Behind the Exorcist by Piper Gorley for History101.com and The Exorcism of Roland Doe, Wikipedia.
Holy balls.
So, can't explain that away with mental health.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, because there were like supernatural instances that there were multiple witnesses to.
So many crazy
yeah
situations that I'm very uncomfy with.
Right. But I found it interesting that was the inspiration for The Exorcist. Obviously, they just gender swapped. And
Right. Which is interesting. They were like, we're going to make it a girl who's possessed by the demon.
Yeah, because they love demonizing women.
Right, yeah.
So that makes sense.
Obvi.
That makes sense. Men are too strong to be possessed. You know what I didn't do? And I'm going to do that right now. Live. I didn't Google to see if there's a picture of him.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what he looks like.
Oh, that's him. Oh. Okay. No, thanks. So this is apparently a picture of Roland Doe during his exorcism.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It's like, we'll post the picture, but his eyes are rolled back and he just, he doesn't look as beat up as, what was her name? Annalise.
Oh, Michelle.
Yeah, or McKelly or whatever it was. Because she was suffering from a severe illness. I think we can say that pretty.
Yeah.
Assuredly, he looks fine. Just not doing well demon-wise.
Not super there.
Not super present.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
that's
maybe
doozy.
I'm curious if you guys could debunk that. Maybe some of you know a little bit more about mental health and physical health than I would that would cause these type of occurrences. So if you can find a logical explanation for a child levitating, things being written on his skin, being thrown across a room, having superhuman strength, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, please email us.
If you could debunk that horrifying tale, you can email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Lure me.
Okay, I'm going to lure you. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for me?
I'm ready. I just spoke so much, I'm losing my voice. Can you hear the vocal fry happening, guys?
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Highgate Cemetery of London, UK, was once covered in overgrown greens, graffiti scrawled across headstones, vaults with missing doors, cracks and holes in various tombs, offering glimpses of coffins and, in some cases, bodies.
Dun, dun, dun.
During the 1960s, it was quite a spooky place to behold. It's no shock that this Gothic graveyard generated legends of hauntings, sinister creatures, and maybe the most alluring of them all, the Highgate vampire.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Have you heard of this?
No,
this gentle fellow?
I know what the Highgate Cemetery is.
Yeah?
We got to do no spooky shit when we went to London. Except for we went to the
We will definitely
London
have to go.
Tower.
This is outside Hampstead Heath, so we actually weren't terribly
far. We want to go.
Yeah,
we went to Hampstead Heath.
Yeah, we actually weren't far from Hampstead Heath.
We went to the Spaniard Inn where, was it Oscar Wilde haunted?
Yes.
Is that who it was?
Yes.
I feel like that's wrong.
I think so. Whatever.
feel like it was somebody else. No, it was not attached to the backyard of Harry Styles' house. That's not where we went.
The first chatter that occurred about this mysterious creature was in late 1969. An old woman who had been walking her dog and a middle-aged accountant on separate occasions. I'm an accountant.
What do you do?
Told a similar story about what they had seen in the cemetery that night. The old woman witnessed a tall, dark figure with glaring eyes that seemed to be floating towards her. Feeling the air around her turn cold, she scurried away. The accountant was lost and wandering through the cemetery. Good place to get lost in.
So fun to get lost there.
He heard
Did you have a friend that got lost in like the Gettysburg?
Yes, and he saw
cemetery.
Ghosts. Well, he didn't get lost in the Gettysburg.
He was walking through it.
So he lived behind it.
Horrible.
So he said there was like days where he could go around it.
Yeah.
But most days it was obviously way faster to just walk through the cemetery. And he was like, and I was like a young guy and I was like, yeah, I can walk through the cemetery. I'm fine. And he said oftentimes he would see ghosts in the cemetery because it's super, super haunted.
Oh, yeah. I went to Gettysburg
duper.
as a kid, and it was probably one of, like, the first times I had that nausea, weird feeling that was my indicator that something is a-lurking.
Yeah, he saw a lot of...
I was, like, 8.
Figures there.
Interesting.
But anyway, so this accountant is wandering through the cemetery.
No one asks you questions when you say you're an accountant.
He heard the ringing of a bell and began walking towards the sound, hoping following the noise would guide him out. Like, oh, maybe somebody's ringing a bell and I can go to that person and, like,
I'd be like, I am not going towards that bell. I am in a cemetery. Why is there a bell?
Yeah, instead, he could feel something was behind him, and he felt the same cold chill that the old woman felt. He turned around to see a tall, dark figure that stared at him intensely with glaring eyes before it vanished. Highgate vampire.
Sorry.
Gosh. A local Brit named David Farrant, who's going to be one of our main characters.
David.
So don't forget David Farrant. David. He heard these stories and decided to spend the night in the cemetery, as one does.
Yeah, of course.
Around midnight,
crazy.
He was like a paranormal investigator. He was like into this stuff. So
yeah.
Like, I guess it's not really that crazy.
I would hang out in a cemetery at night.
You would. I would not.
You will one day.
Okay. I'm going to take this for my wife.
Okay. This shit she's going to make me do in the future.
Good God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Around midnight, he too caught a glimpse of a figure about 7 feet tall that appeared to be floating just above ground. He saw its face and 2 points of intense red light, which was its eyes.
Got it.
The area around him turned icy cold. He claimed the figure was draining him of energy and that he felt that he lost control of his normal faculties and that it felt like a vivid dream that he couldn't wake up from.
I read about these vampires in my vampire research, the ones that drain energy, not blood. It's very interesting.
Yes. In February 1970, David Farrant wrote to the local newspaper, which was called the Hampstead and Highgate Express, also known as, and what we'll refer to it as, the Ham and High.
Ham and High.
Because Brits are so cute about everything.
They're adorbs.
Asking if anyone had also seen this figure. Basically, it was just like, somebody validate what I just saw. And what
Have you seen this man?
What other people saw.
Sorry to this man.
A number of people responded claiming they had also laid eyes on something in the cemetery. However, the descriptions varied, such as a tall man wearing a hat, a ghostly cyclist, a lady dressed in white, a face grimacing through the bars of a gate, a person wading into a pond, and a pale gliding entity. There were also reports of the sounds of bells and voices calling. David Farrant never ever claimed that the figure he saw was a vampire. But a local paranormal enthusiast, Sean Manchester, another main character.
Wait, how is Sean spelled?
Cian. Yeah.
Frickin' Irish. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Manchester begged to differ.
Okay.
He contacted the Ham and High, and they conducted an interview where he outlined his theory, alleging that a king vampire of the undead was buried in the graveyard. This so-called vampire had been an aristocrat and practitioner of black magic in medieval Romania.
I am picturing Tom Cruise.
Yes. Great. You're casting it
An
already.
interview with a vampire.
He had been transported to England in a coffin by his followers in the early 18th century. The quote-unquote vampire was buried in what would later become known as Highgate Cemetery. Manchester claimed that the resurgence of said vampire was due to occult rituals held in the cemetery and that those rituals had awakened its evil presence. Manchester claimed to have spoken to local people who'd experienced vampiric activity. Vampiric. A schoolgirl, Elizabeth Wajdilla, had seen the vampire when walking down Swain's Lane.
Oh,
These
Brits.
names.
Brits!
She started having nightmares where something evil tried to come into her bedroom at night. Eventually, 2 wounds appeared on her neck, resembling a vampire bite, and she started to display symptoms of anemia.
Interesting.
Manchester and Elizabeth's boyfriend filled her room with garlic, crucifixes, and holy water, and her so-called condition improved.
Pause for one.
Sure. Just a little bit. I don't need a lot. Oh, dear. Jesus Christ. It's hard to get under the microphones. Manchester spoke to another young woman, Jacqueline, like Pink or Adele, just Jacqueline.
Ooh.
Who said...
One name. Very, very...
One name.
Rihanna.
Yeah, like Rihanna.
Beyonce. Sorry, I'll stop.
Okay. Normani.
There you go.
We could keep going. Anyway, Jacqueline said she woke up in the middle of the night to someone or something cold, clutching her hand. Blah.
I wanna hold your hand.
No, that's not the vibe.
Oh, okay.
The next morning, she noticed deep tears in the flesh where she tried to force her hand free. Jacqueline and her younger brother soon developed a fascination with the Highgate Cemetery. They became obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Once news of the Highgate vampire went public, yes, public, because Ham and High published articles about it, Manchester claimed that people were calling him in droves, stating that they also saw a similar tall, dark being with glaring eyes. There is actually evidence found of satanic rituals being held in Highgate Cemetery. Discarded remains like stubs of black candles, satanic markings.
No.
Satanic markings on the floors of tombs, an inverted pentagram were all found.
Okay.
David Farrant, bringing him back into the picture,
Our main character.
yes, cited this evidence and agreed with Manchester that it might have awoken a long dormant presence. Now remember, David Farrant doesn't actually believe that this presence is a vampire. He thinks it's paranormal.
Okay.
Whereas Sean Manchester is committed to believing that this is a Romanian vampire.
Got it.
Ham and High continued to follow the vampire story, interviewing both Farrant and Manchester several times over the next few months. Sean Manchester would later write a book published in 1985 entitled The Highgate Vampire. In an article published on March 6, 1970 called Why Do the Foxes Die?
What did the fox say?
I literally thought the same thing. David Farrant said he found dead foxes in the cemetery, but couldn't work out how they died. Though he thought a vampire might have been responsible, he didn't actually believe in vampires. Manchester claimed he'd also seen the foxes and suggested that the vampire may have been using them as a food source because it was alleged that the foxes were found drained of blood with their throats ripped open.
Yummy.
The reports of the Highgate vampire went 1970s viral. ITV, BBC, and international media began covering the story.
ITV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we watch a lot of Love Island.
We watch a lot of ITV, guys. So.
The news of the Highgate vampire created quite a tizzy, but what didn't help matters is at this time there was a growing fascination with creatures like this in British society. The
Brits are creeps.
Yeah.
They love this shit.
A number of TV shows and horror movies had focused on vampires. One film called Taste the Blood of Dracula had actually been shot in Highgate Cemetery just a year before the Highgate vampire incidents began. Maybe the best part of the story was that the news of the Highgate vampire created a rivalry between David Farrant and Sean Manchester, each belittling one another's skills as a so-called exorcist and claiming that each would be the one to finish off the vampire.
Come on, guys. Let's just get along.
Earlier, I told B, I was like, this would make a great script or great movie.
It would be.
And I just want to write a story about the rivalry between Farrant and Manchester because it's so juicy.
Just call it Highgate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like the one name titles. On Friday night of March 13th, 1970, an ITV program aired featuring them both, and others claiming to have witnessed the vampire around Highgate. Within hours of the program airing, hundreds of people, many armed with weapons, gathered at Highgate on a mission to hunt down the vampire. This is true. There's news articles about this. They surged over the locked gates and walls of the cemetery despite efforts of police officers to stop them. The mob, unsurprisingly, caught no vampires that night, but some claimed to have seen a glimpse of a tall, dark figure lurking in the shadows.
We love an unsuccessful mob.
As amateur vampire hunters swarmed the cemetery,
Oh boy.
Manchester made his way to the entrance of one particular catacomb, so he was there.
You're going to hear purring.
Izzy, I was asking if I could hold you this whole time, and you rudely ignored me, and now...
She wants some mama.
And now, really? Jerk.
That's what happens when you work with your mother.
He had previously been led there by a sleepwalking girl who claimed to have been woken up by the vampire and had exhibited similar symptoms to Elizabeth Watchdilla. Manchester could not pry open the door, so instead he hung a rope down into the catacomb and climbed through a window like he's freaking Indiana Jones.
I'm gonna go to Disney.
I realized you were just there. I was talking to Joey, our friend. Well, you guys know Joey.
You know Joey.
I was talking to Joey on Friday night.
Yeah.
And we were just like talking about movie ideas we had. And then he literally paused and went, "Do you think we like adventure movies or?"
Just truly.
Because literally every genre of film that we talk about is an adventure movie. And I was like, yeah, I guess we do. We just want to make different versions of Indiana Jones, really. What a great soundtrack.
Sorry, childhood. Sorry. You didn't watch that till you were in your 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I missed out on a lot of things. I love my parents, but they were very...
French-Canadian.
French-Canadian, yeah. They didn't, like...
You were very versed in French-Canadian.
Yeah, they didn't know about the cool pop culture stuff. And I had to, like, I didn't discover the Beatles until I was
I'm surprised that my family didn't introduce you to, like, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that. It's because we watched them kind of regularly at home.
Yeah, no. I watched Star Wars in college.
Yeah. With me? No.
No, with Brian Henderson.
Okay.
Like those guys. Like
yeah, that group.
Okay, anyway, sorry. So Manchester, like, throws a rope down into the catacombs and climbs through a window. Inside was a vault with several coffins. One in particular was a sinister-looking casket made of nearly all black wood. So obviously it stood out because it was black and
I want a really gothic casket.
Right? Well, yeah, this is what Mr. Manchester found.
That's what I want.
Manchester performed an exorcism with holy water and garlic and sprinkled salt around the coffin. Meanwhile, Farrant was apprehended by police in the churchyard next to the cemetery while clutching a crucifix and a wooden stake.
This is so cinematic.
Months later, this is what's crazy to me is this is, like, true. I mean, I don't know if the vampire stuff is true.
This all took place in the 70s?
Yes.
Oh, great time
Late
period.
60s, like early 70s, right?
Great time period for London. Love it.
So good. Months later, Manchester was led to a different family vault by a female psychic. After forcing open the doors, they found another black coffin. Manchester suspected that it had been moved by black magic devotees and levered open the lid to see what was inside. This is a quote from Mr. C. N. Manchester. It was only when we discovered in the putrid chamber of that tomb in August 1970 what we did and looked upon the horrific countenance of what was inside.
Contents?
Nope. Countenance.
I don't like that.
Of what was inside, that we had absolute confirmation of what we were dealing with. End quote.
What were you dealing with, Cian?
Manchester wanted to drive a stake through the body, but a member of his entourage persuaded him not to, as interfering with remains was a crime in England. Instead, the group performed a ritual that used 7 crucifixes, 4 white candles, and 7 cups of holy water in a ceremony carried out by 4 men and a woman.
Sheesh.
To banish the spirit of evil or evil presence. Manchester says the cemetery officials then bricked up the vault, with a crucifix and holy water left inside. So they were like, okay,
Yeah.
we exorcised this body, whatever, we're done.
Yeah.
Farrant and his group were also making efforts to deal with the presence. So David Farrant's on his own little universe over here, saying it's not a vampire, but we're going to deal with whatever this paranormal creature is. They decided to try to communicate with the entity and find out its purpose. Inside Highgate Cemetery, they conducted rituals using 2 circles, incense, candles, and a medium. The first time they tried, the press interrupted them. A year later, according to Farrant, another attempt dredged up an entity clasping the medium by the throat. They broke the circle. The area turned cold. The medium said she felt she was being enveloped by blackness. She felt something was trying to strangle her. Farrant came up with a theory that the being wasn't a vampire at all, but an evil presence that traveled along a ley line, which is essentially supernatural lines that connect across landmarks. So he thinks that Highgate Cemetery has ley lines, right? So it's like from each point of interest, there is some haunting or some.
It's like Wi-Fi for the paranormal.
Yeah, or it's like Portal, but like
vortexes or
stuck in a line.
Okay.
Connecting to different places, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that the paranormal things are happening in between the lines. It's in the points that the lines land.
Okay.
So it's like if you were to draw strings on a map with like tacks. It's like where the tacks hit and the lines go in some kind of order.
Got it.
That's what he believed. This ley line began at the Columbarium, a part of the cemetery where urns are kept, and ran across Highgate through 2 old public houses, Highgate Wood, and a block of flats built over a nunnery. Farrant claimed that he found evidence of disturbing supernatural activity in all of these places. Some people he spoke to said that they'd glimpsed a tall, dark figure. A manager in one of the pubs apparently saw a sight so horrific it turned his hair white, and one of the flats built over the nunnery had to be exorcised.
Jeez.
About 3 years later, so we're still going here.
Yeah.
This is what, like 1973 at this point?
They're very serious about catching this Highgate vampire, who at this
Super
point
serious.
has like not really done anything else to them.
He's not really like doing anything other than just like spooking people out.
He's just living his life, guys. Chill.
He's just like tall and looming and has red glaring eyes. He's no Edward Cullen.
No.
As
if you could outrun him. As if you could fight him off.
I don't know if I posted it. Oh, I didn't. I'm going to post it on our Instagram story. I found this really funny TikTok that kind of makes fun of that scene, and it's really good.
Is it the girl? Is it a girl?
Yes.
Yeah, she does what's called cursed cosplay. It's fucking hilarious. She's the funniest person. She's like this Australian girl, and she's dressed as Edward and Bella, and she goes back and like her running through the...
It's so funny. I'm going to post. I saved it and I forgot to post it.
She's so funny, and her cursed cosplay is hilarious. She laughs her laugh is my favorite thing in the world. I love her. I'm happy you found that TikTok.
Yes. About 3 years later, Manchester claims he and his little group of minions discovered the same ominous black casket in the cellars of an abandoned and Gothic mansion on the borders of Highgate and Crouch End. Manchester suspected that the coffin had been moved there to avoid all the attention from the media and enthusiastic vampire hunters. Like himself, let's be real. Manchester's group dragged the coffin out of the basement, naturally.
As you would.
Up the stairs and into the grounds of the mansion.
Easy peasy.
And this is another quote from Mr. Sean Manchester. When the lid was removed, we beheld the same thing we'd seen in August 1970. This was now the early part of 1974. Our quarry this time looked even more exaggerated, even more distorted than I remembered it. Far worse than even that time in Highgate Vault. Its burning, fierce eyes, under the many furrowed brow, were staring, yellow at the edges, with blood-red centers, unlike anything imaginable. The mouth was set in a cruel expression, the lips drawn back. With a mighty blow, a sharpened shaft of wood impaled the creature's heart. We witnessed the body's shell cave in and quickly turned filthy brown, and that itself soon became a sluggish flow of inhuman slime and viscera in the bottom of the casket. End
so
quote.
It true-blooded.
Yeah. So they stabbed it with the, obviously, this is a very flowery
goo.
Yeah, very flowery I'm
Flowery.
having a hard time saying that word.
My wedge.
A very flowery way.
No, that wasn't it either.
A very flowery.
Flowery. You're saying flowery.
Flowery?
No, you're still saying it wrong.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Look at me.
Hold on.
You can do this. Flowery.
Flowery.
There you go. You were saying flowery.
I know. It's really hard to not go flowery.
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 It's a hard one to
It
say.
is. It's not fun when you've drank
It
wine.
doesn't feel good in my mouth.
I'm sorry. It doesn't feel good in your mouth.
Anyway, Sean Manchester, very flowery. He said he stabbed him with a stake in a very fun way.
Fun.
Yeah, so Mr. Manchester and his minions burned the coffin and what was left of the body.
Bye, Jar.
End story.
Oh, that's the end?
That's the end.
It's very abrupt.
Yeah.
These men.
That's the end of the Highgate Cemetery and the rivalry between two so-called...
You mean the wabbly?
the
Wabbly?
The rivalry between...
That's good. That's good.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
So my sources...
Would make a good movie.
Right?
Copyright.
TM.
Tim.
Okay. The Serpent's Pen blog entry by David Castleton called The Highgate Vampire, Did a 1970s Nosferatu Stalk a London Cemetery?
Did you watch Nosferatu?
No.
I did.
Mm.
It's boring.
Yeah, it sounds boring.
It's silent.
I also read a Vice article called The Decades-Long Rivalry of London's Two Vampire Hunters, even though it's incorrect because David Farron was not a vampire hunter.
He was just a man on a mission.
By Francisco Garcia.
Sean Manchester was?
Sean Manchester was the only one who actually believed that this was
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Besides, like, crazy
That's fair.
people that, like,
That's
showed
fair.
up in droves. And a grunge article called The Bizarre True Story of the Highgate Vampire Feud by Tom Quackenbush.
Quackenbush. God, I love British people.
God, I love them. But yeah, apparently there was, like, this whole thing, but I don't know how true it is, that David Farron was in prison for a while. So, yeah.
Oh, David.
David.
What'd you do, David?
For basically messing with remains.
Oh, no.
No, not in that way. Not sexually.
Necromancy.
No. Not dirty way.
Oh.
Like, for just, like...
Messing with them.
Just, like...
Unburying. Like, burying them and stuff.
Yeah,
exhuming them without
exhuming
permission.
them and, like, just, like, messing with the cemetery. Like, bro, get out of the cemetery.
Stop it.
Which I'm like, why wasn't Sean Manchester arrested? He literally stabbed a dead body.
Because it turned into goo.
And claims that it turned into goo.
Gooey body.
I'm like, I've only heard Shan. I've only heard Sean Manchester's version of the story. I would love to hear his minions' version of the story.
His minions.
And if that's actually what happened.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wrote in his book.
Yeah.
But.
And I lied. We did do something. We attempted to do something spooky in London. We did the Jack the Ripper walking tour, and it wasn't.
We also did the paranormal tour, but that was boring.
We did?
It was, like, kind of funny, but it was, like, not spooky.
What paranormal tour? Why am I
on
not
the
remembering
van?
this?
Remember we took a picture?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was just funny. She was just, like... Yeah, that was true.
It was corny.
It was corny, and, like, there'd be actors waiting at the stops.
Yeah, it was really cheesy. It was fun.
It was funny, and yeah, we weren't mad about it.
No.
We got to go to the Sherlock Holmes pub before it.
Yeah, we got there for
and
a while.
we did the Jack the Ripper tour, which was also just, like, dull.
Yeah, but it was kind of interesting
We're
nonetheless.
like, he was literally like, here's a parking lot that used to not be a parking lot where Jack the Ripper killed somebody.
Yeah.
And here's another parking lot that used to not be a parking lot where Jack the Ripper killed somebody. And we're like, are we going to see something that isn't a parking lot?
No.
So we gotta do something, because there is tunnels underneath London that are haunted. The
Edinburgh tunnels, is that what you're thinking?
No,
of?
that's the catacombs. No,
Okay.
catacombs are in France. There are tunnels in Edinburgh too, but there's tunnels under London as well.
Because the tunnels in Edinburgh were, like, where they put people with the plague.
Right.
To die.
Right.
And they're supposed to be
This
very
wasn't like
haunted.
that. This was, I believe it was like prisons.
Ooh.
If I remember correctly. Ideally, I would love, when we go back to the UK/Europe, to go to London for a week in October. Beginning of October, London for a week, then Scotland or like Scotland, Ireland, //
Yeah, //
Because what I've heard is you can't spend a week in Scotland. You got to split it up.
4 days in Scotland, 4 days in
Beautiful.
Ireland. Sounds good to me.
Ireland.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. That's okay.
That's a wild ride.
Those men are something.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Do you want to tell me something wonderful?
Do I want to tell you something wonderful? I do. So, not a flex, because I do genuinely not like that my first concert post-pandemic isn't going to be with you, but
No.
I see Harry Styles on Friday.
That is a pretty good one.
So by the time you guys have heard this, I will have seen him, and it will be my niece's first concert,
Yeah.
which I got to take my other niece to her first concert, which was One Direction, so
Yes.
still Harry Styles. And Tanya got to come with me to that in Nashville, which was really special. But now I'm getting to take my 12-year-old niece. She was too young at the time, but now she gets to go to Harry, and her mom, who I have brainwashed into loving Harry as well.
Who you've all met. You met Kristen.
You've all met Kristen. She read our tarots. So me, her, and Nadia are going to the United Center on Friday to see Harry Styles.
In Chicago.
Hoping to see Olivia Wilde dancing her face off.
Cute.
Yeah, that's my How Wonderful.
That's a good wonderful.
I've been trying for a very long time to take Nadia to her first concert.
Yeah.
The last Harry tour was an attempt. She was too anxious, which was fair.
She was too young. She was really young.
Yeah, she was like 9.
Yeah.
8 or 9. Crowd scared her at that point, so she didn't get to go. Again, I took my other niece at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be an experience that I'm hoping will be a very good lasting memory, but also my How Wonderful is I go home on Wednesday. I haven't been home in 9 months.
I'm jelly.
I know.
You
How
can
long has
enjoy
it been since you've been home?
Probably around the same. It's been since
Christmas to 9 months.
No, I wasn't even home.
No,
Was
you
I
went
home
to
for
Florida.
Christmas? No, I don't know.
It's probably been over a year.
I think it was July.
Yeah, we went home together in July, so it's been over a year.
2020. Yeah.
Wow, you need to go to Chicago, friend.
Yeah, I'll
Won't
be
be
there
till Christmas. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, I've been really homesick, so I'm going there. It's my brother's 40th birthday, so other friend of the pod, Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be taking him out for his 40th, meeting his new lady, and making family memories.
Yeah, it'll be so fun.
It's a quick trip, but it's needed. It's necessary.
Good old family time.
Exactly.
And everyone's vaccinated, so that's even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
Exactly. I kind of want everybody to get tested, though, as well.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
So my wonderful, well, I was going to, this is not my wonderful, but I was going to mention this earlier, and I was like, I can throw this into some of my wonderful, but I met a dog named Seymour this week, and he was very sweet and cute.
That's important.
And
Meeting dogs are important.
He kept walking.
No!
He was my boss's dog, and he kept walking into my office to just sit on I have a couch in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just literally just...
No!
Izzy. She's jealous because I'm talking about another assistant.
Yeah. She's trying to lure me into the bedroom. She's trying to seduce me. And the HR...
Izzy, we are on the clock.
She's HR issuing now.
You don't behave this way every night. It's only when we're recording.
I know, truly.
No, stop putting on a...
No, stop trying to seduce with your
trying to
peeps.
get so much attention. But my real wonderful
Your real wonderful
is I watched... So, when I go to bed at night, I like to watch Disney Plus.
Obviously.
And I like to watch usually nature documentaries.
Obviously.
Just because they're very relaxing to watch and they're like
go on
enjoyable.
Discovery Plus and watch nature.
Yeah, and I did save some.
Yeah.
And I watched this documentary that wasn't really like a nature special, but it was kind of along the lines. It was called Playing with Sharks.
Okay.
And it's about the scuba diver Valerie Taylor, who is like probably one of the greatest divers of all time, who also became a conservationist for sharks. And it totally changed my perspective on sharks.
Yeah, they're babies.
Which they're totally puppies.
They're puppies.
It's insane. I had no idea. So she basically, she was also a consultant on Jaws.
Okay.
And she did not know that was going to perpetuate this fear.
This like demonizing of sharks.
Because she was like, oh, it's so fictitious.
Yeah.
Like in her eyes, she was like, oh, this is like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Or this is like, sorry, not Godzilla. This is like King Kong.
Right.
Nobody's actually going to be afraid of
monkeys.
Of like chimps now, or not chimps, of gorillas now.
Yeah.
because of King Kong. She's like, Jaws is like the shark version of King Kong.
Yeah.
There's not actually a shark like Jaws.
But no, it scared people.
But it scared people, created a whole phenomena. But it was such a cute documentary. She is like an old woman now. It was like mostly her time was like in the 70s. And she was so hot.
Izzy!
And
no bedtime.
They showed her diving again.
Oh.
Like as an old woman.
Oh, that would make me cry.
She like dove with sharks. And like she specifically dives with, oh my gosh, what are they called? They're like little hammerhead sharks.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't
nurse sharks.
Sort of.
They're the ones that don't have teeth?
They do have teeth. They have teeth on the outside of their mouths, so they look intimidating. I forget what kind of sharks they're called.
Because there's nurse sharks that don't have teeth. They have thumbs. So they just like break your bone. They just like, they can't bite you.
But there's like a type of shark. Now I can't remember what it's called, what kind of shark it is, but they have teeth on the outside, so everybody's like terrified of them. But they're like the most populated sharks.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks that they bite, but
Your waterfalls are always so pure. I love you.
I love you too. But the way that their mouths are shaped, they can't actually bite you.
Oh.
They just have scary shark teeth because they're predators.
Yeah.
Right? So they have to eat fish. She also hand feeds a great white shark. Like hand feeds it like a fish.
Okay.
And like holds her hand there while the great white shark bites out of the fish, and then she pets the shark. And she was like, I just proved that sharks have personalities, because the shark was like doing like fun little tricks for her, like to get the fish.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, so she was like, see, great white sharks. She's like, how did she describe it? She said they're like dogs.
The only reason I'm like, F you, shark, is because I watched The Octopus Teacher.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I watched The Octopus Teacher, and that shark fucked her up, man.
That was really sad.
Oh, it was so sad. It was the baby shark.
I know.
So mean. So mean, the baby shark.
It's just hungry.
Yeah, I know.
It just, you
can't get mad at it for being hungry.
It's like top of the chain, Top
I
of the
know.
food chain. But anyway, I thought it was wonderful because it actually changed my perspective and made me want to go swim in the ocean.
Nope.
Which is a fear of mine.
Yep. No, they still like, they still bite people. So no.
But the thing is she made a great point. She was like, they're not going to bite you.
Yeah. It's honestly not even sharks that make me afraid to swim in the ocean. It's jellyfish.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stung by a jellyfish.
I mean, they showed her literally swimming, like swarmed by sharks, like swarmed all around her. And anytime they came near her, if she made any motion, they would like skitter away.
Yeah.
Like they were more afraid of her than she was afraid of them. And she was like, you have to respect their space. Like there's even a shot of her as an old woman in like the sea of sharks. And one of them like swatted her in the head. And she was like, when they got up, she was like, did you get that on camera? Did you see that one of those sharks like swatted me with its fin? And they were like, yeah. She's like, that was so crazy. That was so cool. But like none of them tried to bite her or attack her.
Yeah.
She even like wore like a protective suit when she was younger.
Yeah.
And like put her hand into a shark's mouth. And it like bit her and then like kind of like backed off. Because they're like, that's not what I eat.
Yeah.
And like went away from her.
Like pit bulls.
Or like, because she was trying to prove that the jaws of the shark can't actually break your bones.
Right.
So she like put her hand in the jaw and it was like trying to bite her. And she was like, yeah, nothing's happening. And then she like pushed it off of her arm. And it like got off of her arm. And she was like,
she's a bamf.
She was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. She would swim with sharks every day.
Dang.
Her and her husband.
She needs to be on Shark Week.
Yeah. So it was a really cool documentary called Playing with Sharks about Valerie Taylor.
It's very cool. I mean, my watching How Wonderful is Sex Education is back.
Oh yeah, I still want to watch.
I love that show so much. This season is so good, but also the last season of Travels with My Father. It's only 2 episodes. It's making me really sad.
Aww.
Travels with My Father is Jack Whitehall's show with his dad, and it was his way of spending time with his dad and getting closer to his dad because they've had a very like resentful relationship his whole life.
Yeah.
And the last season they can't travel because his dad's too old and it's quarantine. So they're just traveling the UK.
Oh.
And there's this like finality to it where it's the last time he's going to get to do this with his dad because his dad's in his 80s.
Yeah, he's getting old and he can't do it anymore. Yeah.
And like I'm watching it and I'm trying not to cry the whole time because all I keep thinking is like, what a lovely thing he's going to have when Michael passes.
Yeah.
He's going to have all these memories. And Michael Whitehall is funnier than Jack by a mile. He is so funny.
Yeah.
And it's
He is really funny.
It's just such a delightful, heartwarming. It has kind of almost the same effect as Somebody Feed Phil. It's just very like relaxing and fun and funny to watch. And yeah, so I've been watching them do that.
What's your music song of the week?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. But no, I know what it is. My song of the week is Miss Chloe Bailey.
Oh.
And it's Have Mercy.
Oh my God, that song.
She wrecks the joint with this song.
She does. It's so good.
If you haven't heard it, may your first time hearing it be watching the video. Watch the video. Please.
Sorry, not sorry.
The aggressive femininity is amazing. So yeah, it's definitely Chloe Have Mercy. It's not Chloe Bailey on iTunes. It is Chloe Bailey of just Chloe and Hallie.
Yeah.
But it's just Chloe Have Mercy.
Yeah.
Booty so big, Lord have mercy.
Well, Lil Nas X.
He sure did.
Dropped an album. And I really like Scoop.
Yeah.
Scoop's probably my favorite song on the album right now. It'll probably change because it does every time I listen to an album over
I did listen to the whole album and I didn't tell you. It's so good. There's no skips.
Good, right? There's no skips. It's so freaking good.
It's surprisingly, it has the same effect like Kid Cudi does, where it's very deep and introspective and a lot about his mental health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good.
It's not just like
it also feels like a pop album.
Yeah. Yeah. He sings on not all of them are like rap songs. No. Void is probably one of my favorites. It's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shout out Scoop because that's my current favorite. Lil Nas X. I also...
So important. So needed.
There's a War on Drugs album that's coming out, and there's a song called I Don't Live Here Anymore, I believe.
Who is War on Drugs?
They're just like an alternative band. But they came up on my new music daily. I Don't Live Here Anymore is so good.
I'll look it up.
It's such a good track. And then, sorry, one more.
That's fine.
Fire in Your House by Walk the Moon is so fun.
Okay, I'll have to listen to that.
So fun.
I'll have to listen. Oh, okay, fine. If we're doing multiple.
Yeah, I always do. You know, I can't keep it
I know.
Music is like life. So.
It's fine. Where did it go? Life is Not the Same by James Blake.
I can't wait for that album. Every song is so good.
It's so good. Life is Not the Same is so good. Famous Last Words also really good. But Life is Not the Same is so good. And also shout out to Ms. T Swift, who you're currently wearing.
I am currently
for
wearing a hoodie.
seeing that Wildest Dreams was trending on TikTok and was like, not today, Satan, to Scooter Braun, because he was obviously getting royalties for that trending on TikTok. And even though she's back in her red era, she's like, halt, we will go to the 1989 era and release Wildest Dreams.
Yes.
F you, Scooter Braun. Yes. Always F you, Scooter Braun.
And it's so good.
It's so good. I love it. I've been listening to it like all week.
I'm really excited for the red era because that was pretty much like the first album that I actually
liked. That you were like, okay, there's some bangers on this. Yeah.
I wasn't into the
country. We're not. Country. Yeah, we're not.
Sorry.
Although Casey Musgraves also came out with an album.
Yeah, that's true.
But it doesn't feel country at all.
No.
And I mean, A Good Wife, Breadwinner, Simple Times.
Yeah, it's all good.
There Is a Light. It's all good.
You guys are gonna have quite Tuesday tunes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think for October we should also highlight a horror movie.
Oh, okay.
That they should watch. That might be a favy.
Great. I already have one in mind.
Perfect. So do I. What's yours?
The Strangers.
Yes.
The Strangers. Watch The Strangers
watch
right
The
now.
Strangers.
It's a great thriller
so
slasher movie. It's so
the briefest synopsis you can think of for The Strangers to make people watch it. How would you pitch The Strangers?
A couple is terrorized in a house.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the premise of the story.
You have character development in that movie. But it's like a good
story.
Yeah.
There's just
you have conflict outside of the horror in that movie.
It's talking about more. It's using horror as a vessel to tell you about the relationship.
Liv Tyler, who's a queen.
No, isn't it Kate Beckinsale?
No, it's Liv Tyler in The Strangers. Are you thinking of No Vacancy?
Nope.
Okay. No, it's Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. That's fine. She doesn't even remember the movie.
Wait, really?
Yes, it's 100% Liv Tyler. Kate Beckinsale's No Vacancy with Luke.
I'm totally thinking of that, but I also mean
Wilson.
The Strangers.
Yeah.
I'm like
We
imagining
know
them.
vacancy is high stress too.
Yeah, literally on IMDb it says a young couple staying in an isolated vacation home
yes.
are terrorized by 3 unknown assailants.
Yes.
Scott Speedman and Liv Tyler.
Yep, Liv Tyler. We
But
love
it's
her.
really, really good.
It's so good. We were so stressed out in the theater watching that. My October horror movie suggestion would be The Loved Ones. It is on streaming. And it's an Australian horror movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Starring Xavier Samuel of Twilight Eclipse fame.
He plays Riley.
He plays Riley. He's a very good actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Very good actor.
He was why I liked Eclipse so much.
Because I know the whole time I love Robert Pattinson with my whole entire heart. Xavier Samuel would have made a better Edward Cullen.
I know. The whole time we were watching that, we're like, why wasn't this guy cast as Edward Cullen?
He plays Riley so well. Anyway, The Loved One is it takes place in Australia. It's about a girl who asks a boy to attend the school dance with her. And she's not normal. Her and her family are not normal. Let's put it that way.
They're not normal.
If you can't handle gore, it's not the movie for you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
There's a very intense scene involving a drill. That's all I'll say.
Anyways.
So there's that. So, because it's October, I have put together a very special picture for us.
You have.
It has 8 different topics in it.
Oh, boy.
Because that will last us all of October if we each pick one.
How exciting.
They're all mostly going to be, it's in my spooky cat holder. They're all mostly going to be like paranormal crime based, but they're going to give you direction in which direction you should be going with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you pick first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I hope it's something good.
What did you get?
Hometown Murder.
Okay.
Which you've already kind of done.
Well, you got to come up with something else.
Can I do Chicago in general?
You can do Chicago in general, but if you can pinpoint it to within like a 10, 15 mile radius, it's pretty easy. Yeah. There's a lot.
I'm sure.
You could literally just type in Willow Springs murder.
Yeah.
You could type in Indian Head Park murder.
I feel like I'll type in Willow Springs murder and the first name will come up is the Grimes Sisters.
It will come up the Grimes Sisters 100%. But yeah. So I would say keep it suburban.
Yeah. Okay.
How about that?
I like that.
Okay.
All right. Hometown Murder it is.
All right. So I've got, it's very sad, it's ASMR. Archer Avenue.
Oh my gosh.
So I put it on there because there's so much on Archer Avenue. So this is both hometown for us. This will be interesting.
Yeah.
Because we're going to you saw how enthusiastic we get about stuff that we grew up around.
Yeah.
So I've already done, what did I do on Archer Avenue already? Did I do something?
No, we've just talked about it.
We just talked about Archer Avenue in depth. Awesome. There's a 3-hour ghost tour of Archer Avenue. There's
so much on Archer Avenue.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of jelly.
My dad is buried on Archer Avenue of all places.
That's true.
It's true. So, yeah. Okay. I think I already know what I'm going to do. So.
I don't, but I will figure it out.
You will. And honestly, you're going to find so many things.
I'm sure. Things I didn't even hear about.
I'm thinking of 2 off the top of my head.
Interesting. I'm thinking of 1. But
obviously, keep off Archer Avenue because I might do it.
Obviously, yeah.
But yeah.
I'll stay off Archer.
All right.
Oh boy. Okay, should I do the spiel this
Yeah, you do the spiel this time.
Okay, well, first off, make sure you're following us on Instagram where we probably post the most.
Yes.
We're at How Awful Podcast. If you were around from the very beginning when we launched last October, so happy 1 year, by the way.
Really?
Yes. Yes, happy 1 year podcasting. How did we forget?
My God.
Look at us.
Okay, so how we should celebrate, and this will be a Patreon event.
Okay.
Is in October. We're going to pick a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we're going to go haunted pub crawl.
Cool.
We're going to tape a little bit everywhere we go, like a little, splice sheet together.
Yeah.
And it will progress into us being drunk. But
great news.
We'll take video occurrence after every bar we go to. We'll try and film a little bit in the bar, and we'll try and film a little after the bar to see if we felt anything.
Sounds good.
I made a whole list of haunted bars, but we'll dedicate a Saturday to going to maybe 4.
We're going.
We'll do it.
Cool.
Well, maybe that'll be the one we have our special guest,
Jamie.
Yeah,
sounds good.
as part of.
Yeah, but if you follow us on Instagram, I just got distracted because I realized it was our 1 year.
Yeah.
But last October, when we started the podcast, if you have been following us since then, you'll have noticed that we posted all of the horror movies that we watched during October.
Yeah, and we'll be back on that-ish.
Yes, we'll be back on that. And we try to post every time we do watch something that's on brand for the podcast. But
speaking of,
yeah,
we went to see Candyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't impressed.
No, I was expecting a lot. It was a whole ordeal. Okay, here's the thing, guys. My intuition kicked in on like high gear, and it was very weird for me because I don't normally have like premonition anxiety, but I had it hardcore this day.
Yeah.
I was so anxious getting to the theater, and I kept looking at the clock and being like, "Oh my God, we're late." It's saying we're gonna get there at 7:38. We're late, and no, the movie starts at 8. Whatever. Yeah. I was hiking anxious the entire time we got there, and then we get there, and we go in the theater. Somebody's in our seats. Also, the movie's already starting, and we're like, "What the hell?" And we go up to somebody, and they're like, "No, this is for yesterday." But for some reason, I purchased this ticket after that showtime, and they printed it out for me at the theater the day after.
Right.
So, I mean, they gave us different tickets, whatever. But I was like fully having that we're going to miss the movie feeling, and the movie's at a different time. I had all of those feelings before. It was weird. But anyway, we saw Candyman. It was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
And if
I feel like it missed the point.
It missed the point. And if you saw the first one, you have to kind of see the first one to understand where it's piggybacking off of, even though they do kind of give you history during it. Yeah, they were trying to accomplish something. They were trying to say something about the Black experience that they didn't quite nail.
Yeah, and I mean, if you
even as white women, we understood they didn't quite nail it.
If you listen to early episodes, you'll hear B's take on Candyman, the original story,
which is brought up in the movie. Yeah.
It just didn't hit it.
There was definitely some like ugh moments, but like I don't go to a movie to see just the ugh moments. I want to be like freaked out. I wasn't freaked out.
I was talking to one of my coworkers about it today, and she was saying that there is a review from a Black female German journalist who like just eats it alive. Like it's just rips it apart. Yeah.
Which really sucks because it's a female horror movie director, a female woman of color director.
Yeah.
So you really want her to succeed, but she just doesn't hit it on the head.
Well, and I hate to blame it on the writing, but I think like
Jordan Peele, it fell a little short. I think Jordan is trying to ride the back of Get Out.
Yeah.
And is producing too fast, and it's coming across a little.
Us
lazy.
Is good, but I just
seen Us?
Yeah,
I haven't watched this. Oh, I haven't seen it.
Us is good, but I think
you talked with your mom. I remember.
I think
Get Out is just like
I just think Candyman missed the point.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't.
See the original. The original is good.
Yeah. It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can find us on all the social medias. Yeah. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. You can find us at How Awful Podcast. You can also find us on our website, www.howawfulpodcast.com. We also have merch now. Yeah. If you go to our website and you click on the little store button, you can purchase merch there.
Just don't buy sweatpants. Did you take it off?
Yeah, I took it off.
Good.
They were weird.
They were weird, guys.
We got the samples and we were like...
They were shiny.
No sweatpants, no more.
It was cut in half. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it was a weird vibe. You can also email us at howawfulpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us your stories, especially in October. We'd love to read them, so please tell us about your experiences. You can also join us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/howawfulpodcast, where you can find extra goodies that go hand in hand with the podcast. So please check us out there.
It also just supports us in keeping this podcast going because we don't have sponsors. Yeah. You don't have to listen to ads during our show.
So if you like
subscribing to Patreon is saying you support us, you want us to keep going. It's $5 or $10, depending on how you want to be with us, I guess.
Yeah, how involved you want to be.
Yeah, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And you can also find us on YouTube where we have episodes uploaded on there as well. But you have to search for us. You have to type in How Awful Podcast in the search, and then we come up. Yeah. But yeah, that's us. I'm Tanya Lee.
I'm B.
And we've been How Awful.
Candy man singing on a vine. Candy man.
Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. You like
little Christina Aguilera
from a
throwback.
bottle of vodka double wine. Candy man. Candy man.
Can I tell you something really spooky before we end?
On a Friday night. Yes.
Remember how I told you about how my coworker saw? I didn't tell this on the podcast.
You did.
This is a different.
Different.
Occasion.
The children.
No.
Listen.
Sorry. Stop guessing. So I told you guys about the creepy man that me and my coworker saw in our building at work. Yeah. The other day, he was walking past a window, and in the reflection of the window, he saw said man behind him. No. In the reflection of the window, when he turned around, that man was there.
I don't like it.
Yesterday, I was walking past the same place that he had seen this apparition in. I look down, and there's a Werther's candy bar right in front of, or like a little Werther's like
caramel,
caramel like sucker.
Yeah.
Sitting like perfectly placed in front of the elevator, and I was like, Candyman, bitch, I'm not messing with this.
Oh man,
how creepy is that?
It probably just fell out of somebody's pocket, but like still,
nobody touched it. It's still sitting there. I took a picture of it. Yeah, because I was so wigged out by it.
No,
just sitting on the floor in front of the elevator.
It is creepy after seeing Candyman, because there is a moment where like there's a candy like that, and he opens it and there's a razor in it, and
and it's in the exact spot where Anthony saw a ghost in the reflection of something.
And also remember, he found the candy in an elevator.
In the movie. Oh my god, it's so weird.
It's weird.
Okay,
how awful.
Bye.
As always, we've been B and Tanya Lee. Our logo was created by MJ Savard, and our theme music courtesy of Nikki Lou.